Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. When your wife casually hands over your favorite car like it's a library book, you know you've hit a new level in your marriage. Today in the rLounge, this wasn't just a bump in the road. Wife gave away my car to her brother without my permission. I got him arrested and divorced her. So the background is, my wife Katie, 37 female, and I, 40 male, have been married for 10 years. Over the last 4 to 5 years, she's been acting entitled ever since my business took off. She thinks I have tons and tons of money to waste. She has zero respect for the hard work I have put in. Just happy to wire in the money to her loser brother, Kyle, 30 male. Now she has crossed all limits of charity and obsession and gave away my car, my favorite car, to her brother. And why? Because he needed it more and didn't have a good one. And moreover, I could buy another. And no, this is not the first time she has gone out of her way to help him and created a conflict in our marriage. The guy has big dreams and no spine. He has a never-ending list of excuses for why he can't hold a job or stick with anything more than a few months. His whole family coddles and enables him as if he's a 5-year-old. He's 7 years younger than Katie, so he's like her baby brother. Now, even though he's 30 years old, grown up, she still considers him to be a little boy. His family never let him grow, and maybe that's the reason he's suffering as an adult. And without fixing the root cause, Katie is just enabling him financially, leaving him to make more reckless decisions than he ever could. He was 24 and still unemployed, and years since he finished college. During the same time, my in-laws visited us for 3 to 4 days over a weekend. When they saw me working on weekends on my business while juggling a full-time job, they were impressed. They requested me to speak to Kyle and maybe knock some sense. I said I don't want to interfere in his life. I kind of consider this to be rude. They still insisted I help him find a job. I was reluctant, though I didn't know about him much at the time. I still wanted to stay away from his family drama. For the next few weeks, Katie rallied behind me to find him a job in my network. I checked within my contacts, and one of my acquaintances needed a sales guy. I asked Kyle if he was interested, and he enthusiastically said yes. I patched them. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the guy that Kyle was found napping during work hours, and when the manager confronted, he showed his middle finger and stormed out. I was fuming red. I informed Katie about her brother's feat, and she immediately called him to confront. He denied all the accusations and said he was wrongly framed. The manager was racist and didn't like him, said he was not trained properly and overburdened with tasks which was outside his job boundaries and was given unrealistic targets, and when he didn't achieve them, he was verbally abused. He didn't have any evidence for his claims. Neither his manager had any evidence, so I just let it pass. Obviously, Katie believed her brother and was angry at me for sending the poor boy to a toxic workplace. I learned my lesson to stay away from them. Then, a few months later, I got to know he got a desk job at an IT firm. Heard he was really working hard and saving money for his business. Wanted to start something in the digital space. Since I too was building my venture digitally, I appreciated his idea. 3 years later, when he approached me to help him set up his firm, I happily pitched in. He was struggling to get a trademark registered, running short of money. I wired in $500 and got it done. I was genuinely happy to see someone from my family entering this lucrative space. Initially, he consulted me on various aspects, but eventually I found he was not following my advice. Doing something on his own, I figured to let him do so. Maybe he wanted to carve his own path. A few months down the line, we met at a family gathering. I asked him how he was sailing, to which he responded, "I'll return your $500 as soon as the client clocks in the check." I was shocked. I didn't ask for money at all. I let it pass, thinking he was stressed. I understand building a business is not a cakewalk. Not even a year later, he was wrapping it up, and my money, I never saw it again. Since then, I pledged never to spare a dime on him. Then, after a few months of mourning, he decided to start a mobile coffee truck business. He watched a few YouTube videos, and suddenly, he's a beverage entrepreneur. The problem was he had no capital, no skill, and absolutely no clue. Katie comes up to me with this wide-eyed excitement like we're on Shark Tank. "Babe, Kyle has a solid plan, just needs some help getting it off the ground." I asked, "How much?" She replied, "Only $5,000 to start." "Only?" I said no, straight up. She tried to argue that it was his dream business and was very confident of pulling it off. I was still no. She got quiet and didn't argue further. I thought that was the end of it, but then a month later, I saw he started that business. When I asked Katie how he got the money, she sheepishly admitted that she wired out the money from her savings. I was annoyed. It might be her savings, but it's still our money, right? She should have talked to me before making such decisions. She defended, "But I discussed it with you." I fought back, "No, you asked me if I could pitch in. And when I said no, you didn't inform me that you would fund it from your own savings." She shot, "Obviously, I had to. Did you expect me to turn him down?" Her reason was that we have enough and we can spare a few bucks. She sees the money I'm making, but not the grind behind it. The coffee truck lasted 3 months, got 2 parking tickets, burned through all the supplies, and sold the truck at a loss. Kyle moved back in with their mom like nothing happened. Next came crypto. This was about a year ago, during the tail end of the hype. Kyle called her in a panic. "I missed the Bitcoin boom, but there's this altcoin that's going to explode." He wanted $3,000 to get in early. She didn't even blink and made the transfer. I found out when I noticed a random Venmo transfer. I asked her, "Why are you still giving this guy money?" She replied, "He's trying. At least he's not sitting around doing nothing." Right, because gambling on meme coins is now called trying. I informed her that this was not the right time to enter, and this is definitely not a place for a novice. She didn't listen, and that money vanished overnight when the coin tanked. He ghosted her for 2 weeks and then came back asking for help with rent. She paid it. Whenever I objected, she would label me controlling. That it was her brother, and she had a right to help him. A year back, he decided to start fresh in a new city, as if the city was what was holding him back from hitting the jackpot. He had no job, no apartment, no savings, just hollow enthusiasm. So who bankrolled his fantasy? Obviously Katie. Paid the plane ticket, first month's rent, deposit for the apartment, food bill until he settled in. Funny, he lasted there 6 weeks. He hated the weather and the people. Said the job he got there was too corporate. At this point, I told her we needed to have a serious talk. She defended herself that she was helping her brother through her savings. I said, "You're able to save all your earnings because I cover for everything. And this money doesn't come easy. I have been grinding day in and day out for a decade, so your savings is ideally and completely not yours. I'm generous to let you save it. Better remember that." When she had nothing to say, she started crying, accused me of being heartless, and then she pulled the oldest card in the book. "What if it was your brother?" Except my brother works. He grinds. He doesn't ask for handouts. And there has never been a situation when my brother had to beg me to bail him out. She took offense at this statement. "Sure, go ahead." I spoke the truth. Sorry. Not if it stung. Since then, things have been off between us. I keep an eye on her spending, question her about any suspicious transfer from the joint account. She's annoyed by this and has been picking up fights over this, but has she left me with any other choice? I can't give her a free hand over my hard-earned money. Since then, she's just kept the handout in check. I was hoping she'll learn her lesson, but no, she hasn't, and this time she has pushed me off the cliff with the car thing. The full story about the car is that, as of late, Kyle has partnered with his friend to start a franchise business. I don't know the details, neither am I interested. He's been onboarding small eateries to transform them into some fancy cafes and promising lucrative business guarantees. In order to make an impression on the eatery owners, he put up appearances, dressed in a tuxedo, matched with a luxury watch, only to make them believe that his scheme was successful, and so was he. But the problem was his car. He had a basic one. So when I was out of town, he borrowed my Cadillac CT5V, Blackwing, from Katie. In his first drive itself, he got complimented on the car and ended up cracking the deal. He came pleading to Katie to give him the car, and she did without even asking me. I'm so dang frustrated. I came back exhausted after 9 days work trip with back-to-back meetings and barely any sleep. I was so looking forward to 2 things, my bed and a weekend drive in my Black Beauty. The one I bought 2 years ago. Black, sleek, not my daily ride, but the one that made me feel good. My me-time car. I get out of the cab and my stomach drops. My car's gone. I walk into the house. She's on the couch scrolling her phone. I ask, "Where's my car?" She doesn't even flinch, doesn't even pause, and goes, "Oh, I gave it to Kyle." I stood there silent. I thought maybe she lent. I clarified, "You what?" "You mean he borrowed, right?" She replied, "No, I gave it to him. He needed a car and you weren't using it much." I screamed, "You gave away my car without asking me?" She sighed, "What's so big a deal? You hardly drove that one. You have another one, and moreover, you can buy the same one, or maybe better. You can afford it, right?" I snapped. "It's not about affording. It was my car and you can't give it away without my permission." Her tone changed when she realized she had messed up. She got soft and manipulative. "Babe, the car cracked him a huge deal unexpectedly. It's adding his brand value. Can't we do this for him?" I replied, "No, I can't. You don't get to make decisions like that. That car isn't yours. Mind you, that's theft." She had the audacity to look offended. "Stop being dramatic. It's just a car. Why are you acting like you sold your kidney?" I tried to reason with her that it's not just a car. It's the principle. You didn't ask. You didn't tell me. You decided it was okay to just hand over something I worked for, a guy who's never earned anything in his life. Then came the real banger. We're married. What's yours is mine. I was speechless. This wasn't just a one-off screw-up. This has been her pattern. I replied, then maybe we need to rethink what the marriage even is. She said I was overreacting, that I needed to calm down, that Kyle was family, and it's our job to help him. I was tired and had no patience left for her BS, so pushed off to the guest room. The next morning, I woke up to a text from Kyle thanking me for the ride, like I gifted him a used hoodie or something. No apology, no shame, just appreciate it, bro. By the way, she hasn't apologized yet, nor even offered to get the car back. Hasn't done anything except act like I'm the one creating drama. I'm just so fed up with her that I want to walk away from this hollow marriage right away, but I don't want to make any impulsive decisions. Hence, here seeking some perspective. One thing is certain. If nothing changes fast, I'm out. Because I'm not just angry anymore, I'm exhausted and done playing nice. You've clearly worked hard for everything you have, and it's completely reasonable to expect respect and communication about major decisions, especially when it involves your personal belongings and finances. Katie giving away your car without discussing it with you first crosses a huge boundary. Update 1. I reported and got him arrested. You bet I did. After my emotions settled, I realized it was about time I stood up for myself. I immediately had a conversation with a lawyer just to know what my options are. As per his advice, I started documenting everything. I also reported the theft of my car. I had the advantage to prove that I was out of town when she gave away the keys, and she had no records that she had asked me before shipping it away. The cops tracked him down within hours. Dumbass was parked at some cafe like he was Tony Stark, sitting in my CT5V Blackwing, sipping an iced latte like he owned the block. They arrested him on the spot for unauthorized use of a vehicle and impounded the car. That's when the storm started. She flipped out when she got the news. She and her parents blew up my phone with calls and texts. I overstayed at the office that evening, silenced my phone, and watched the fun until Katie stormed in screaming, "What the F did you do? Kyle just got arrested." I was calmly leaning back in my chair. Yeah, he stole my car. That's what happens to thieves. She was raging. Stole? Are you serious right now? You reported my brother? I nodded. She defended. He needed it. It's not like he was joyriding. He used it for business. I shot back. He used my property to play dress-up entrepreneur, and you helped him. Don't come crying to me now that he's paying the price. She sighed. You didn't have to go nuclear. You could have just talked to me. I replied with a straight face. I tried. She just stood there, stunned, probably expecting me to back down. I didn't. Pointed at the door and said, better hurry to the station. Maybe you can still fix it. She stormed out. I received a call from the station that they had found my car, but they wanted me to come down and clarify the complaint, since the accused and his family were claiming you had gifted him the car. When I showed up, Katie was already there with her parents. Her mom gave me a glare like I'd just slapped her daughter across the face. Her dad avoided eye contact completely. The officer in charge was an older guy, a no-nonsense type. He sat us down and asked me, Sir, your wife is claiming you gifted the vehicle to her brother. We need to confirm ownership and intent. I laid it all out, shared the original car documents which matched their records, showed them the evidence that I was out of town when he took my car. Katie jumped in, saying it was a gift. I denied it. Kyle showed him this text in which he thanked me for the ride. I reasoned that it doesn't prove anything. Then she said I knew about it. I denied it again. The officer asked her to prove evidence of my consent. She spiraled down that she thought of telling me when I returned. The officer pointed out to her that it was illegal to give someone's car without his consent. Your intention doesn't matter. Your action does. And here she facilitated the theft. He clarified that she should be thankful that she was spared. She could be charged for helping him. She then tried to pivot. It wasn't like that. He wasn't using it. It was just sitting there, so I gave it to my brother for better use. The officer gave her a look. She defended, Aren't married couples allowed to make decisions on each other's behalf? I'm his partner in everything he owns. I have a say too. Her parents were whispering and her dad finally stepped in. Look, can't we just resolve this as a family? It's embarrassing. The officer said it was no longer a family matter as the case had been registered. Eventually, they released the car back to me and I drove off. Kyle was pressed with theft charges. Katie got him out on bail and had to pay a hefty fine to close the case. She didn't come home. While she was busy dealing with the legalities, I wasted no time, moved most of my money out of the joint account and filed for divorce. After 2 weeks, my lawyer updated me that the papers were ready and would be shipped soon. I called Katie to inform her about the divorce. She didn't answer. Instead, sent me a long email that I hurt her and she wouldn't forgive me so easily and that I have to earn her love and trust again. I laughed at her text. Earn her love? My butt. I don't give a rat's butt crap to her BS. I didn't respond, letting the sheriff do its job. Within a couple of days, she was served, and then the panic really set in. She called me in panic. I followed her suit and didn't answer. Instead, texted, "This is what it is. Suck it up." She showed up at the house within minutes of her serving, barged into the bedroom in her usual style, screaming, "What the hell is this?" I didn't honor her with a response. She then had a meltdown and pleaded, "Don't throw everything away over one mistake. I'm sorry I didn't ask you. I promise I thought to inform you once you are back. Didn't realize it meant so much to you, more than our marriage." She still wasn't getting it. I ranted about how she has been enabling her brother at my expense and ignoring our future, our security, and showering money on her brother as if there was no tomorrow. At the end of the rant, she said, "We could work through it, can't we?" I didn't budge. She said no, that phase has passed long back. None of her tactics worked on me. If she cried, I let her do it and walked away. If she pleaded or threw tantrums, I would put in my earphones as if she didn't exist. If she threatened, I would pull out my phone and start recording. She would start fuming and storm out. Eventually, she accepted the fate and said if my decision was final, I should move out. She threatened to drag out and claim alimony and half my business. She said she had every right to the house, and she wasn't wrong. It's joint property. We bought it in year 4 of the marriage, deed in both names. I tried to negotiate a peaceful settlement, but she wasn't having it. I was smarter. I had set up the business under a separate legal entity. Profits hadn't been dispersed yet. No payouts meant she couldn't touch it. Not without an uphill battle in court. I agreed to let her have the house. Full title, no strings. She was shocked that I agreed instantly. Asked, "Wait, you're just giving it up?" I replied, "Yep. Consider it my peace tax." I moved out the next week. Took only what was mine, left the rest. Right now, I'm living in a small rental apartment on the edge of the city, quiet and peaceful without any drama. My lawyer is ironing out the last pieces of the divorce. Should be finalized in the next 2 months. I've blocked her number, muted her family, and told my accountant to prepare my financials with one goal: make sure no one but me touches a single cent from this point on. Yes, she's got the house, but she has been ripped off the security and stability of life. With me, she didn't have to worry about her expenditure, about her future. Now she has to slog her butt for every dang thing. And you know what Kyle's doing? Still out there pretending to be a business tycoon. Last I heard, he was trying to launch a podcast about entrepreneurship. Let that sink in. Katie's totally losing it, but she didn't back down, which is exactly what you needed to do. Moving your money and filing for divorce? Smart move all around. You're protecting yourself and making sure no one's messing with your life or cash anymore. It's rough, but honestly, sounds like you're finally out of the drama and in a better spot. Keep doing you and don't let them pull you back in. You got this. Have you ever had to take a tough stand to protect yourself or your belongings? Share your stories with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't have to miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.